Do you want tech news? Well, I'm here to give it to you, so stick around. Nvidia's new Blackwell AI chips, designed to run more efficiently and having huge cuts in cost and power consumption, have now been delayed over 3 months, probably more. The reason for this delay was because of design flaws, but the thing is, at least it's an answer, but it doesn't really tell us anything. All we do know is that the orders placed by big tech companies like Microsoft amount to tens of billions of chips, and now they're being delayed for quite a while. But all I have to say is Nvidia did one-up Intel by letting people know what they're doing. Next up, OpenAI designed a tool that would allow ChatGPT's text pattern to follow a very specific pattern that maybe the naked eye can't detect, but their tool can. This would allow teachers to be able to learn the veracity of their students' papers and figure out whether they're AI or not, and would also probably help in many other areas just to prevent overused generative text. Now, OpenAI has refused to release this for apparently over a year, so they've had the software, but they don't want to give it away. Why? Because they're afraid it would hurt their profit line, as 30% of users said that they would be less likely to use ChatGPT if this tool was released. This has actually led to a lawsuit from Elon Musk against OpenAI, but that probably won't go anywhere. They're just scared they're going to go out of business. I don't blame them, but most people are for the tool, except for the 30%. Next up, Google is sued for monopoly. Not that kind of monopoly. Google is sued for having a monopoly in the search industry. That's fair enough. They are the basically singular search engine and search website people use. Even if you use a search engine like DuckDuckGo, you probably use Google.com. This was originally a 2020 lawsuit, but in 2023, the federal court has now followed up with it going into 2024. And if this continues to go through, this might force Google to have to sell small parts of the company because they can't have such a large monopoly, being the only company for search engine. So if they do that, they might have to sell parts of it to Meta, for example, and give them a helping hand into the industry. But we all know the best thing we need is to have Mark Zuckerberg knowing what we search. Now, in a win for humanity, TikTok cancels this rewards program. TikTok had released a rewards program in Spain and France, and the only problem was they released it without consent from the DSA, Digital Services Act. This causes them to have to shut it down, so they just shut it down entirely. See, this whole app or program was basically just a dumbed down version of TikTok, except there was one thing: the rewards program. The rewards program is something we didn't have here in the US, or the UK, or Australia, or Canada, basically anywhere you're probably watching this video from. But in Spain and France, they did have it. And basically what it was is you would gain points from liking or watching the shorts, or interacting with them, or commenting, or saving, and whatnot. And these points, slowly but surely, would add up and you could get an Amazon voucher to buy certain items. Not any item on Amazon, but certain items. And this was really of no true value to the user, but it gave them something to actually work for. And the reason it's getting removed and the DSA did not like it is because it was highly addictive. Now, that's a surprise, considering how addictive TikTok in itself, like the US version, is. It's addictive. So imagine that like times tenfold. Yikes. But I think the best part of this is the first time TikTok's actually complied with an agency such as this. And lastly, just a touch from a few days ago, Intel lays off over 15,000 employees. See, this is over 15% of the company. One of the biggest layoffs of all time. They did this due to a really bad earning period in this last quarter, and I honestly think it scared them. So they're working on reducing their spending by $10 billion in 2025. This is part of their doing that. And whether they want to say it or not, they can give all the reasons why they might not have earned as much, whether it's their chips, or this or that. But I think it has to do with mainly two things. The fact that Intel's 13 and 14 Gen chips were having a ton of trouble with breaking and swelling. They're still having trouble with that, except Intel finally put out a 2-year warranty now, instead of just the regular, 6 months warranty, I think. So you can probably get it replaced if it breaks. The downside is it put a really bad look on their reputation. So I bet if you see a 13th or 14th gen processor in a computer at a store, you won't buy it. Not to mention they didn't even stop sales. But what I can say is AMD also had a 49% up in their Ryzen chip sales. Not to mention the AI chip that they also put out that did absolutely amazing. So I think that's why Intel got scared. They don't want to go bankrupt. Let's see if Intel can make it back, because they aren't doing good. Anyways, come back in 2 days for a new TechKnow video, and in the meanwhile, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a like on the video. We'd really appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody.